Bob, you want to get started, please?
Yeah, sure. Hey, Chin, how you doing?
Bob,
Th-
good morning, man. How are you?
I'm well. Thanks for being on. I know you're a Chicago guy, and Daryl Walker's a Chicago guy. I was wondering, do you know Daryl, or have you, uh, do you have a sense of him? I think him and Kenny are pretty good friends.
Yeah, those guys are a little older than me, but um, I know him. I know of him. I know his history, and we're both from the city of Chicago. So I'm a basketball almanac historian. So I kind of like know a lot about him. So there's a lot of respect there.
Yeah, they had a good one last night. Tulsa won double digits. I don't know if you've been able to watch that game or been able to look at them, but just what's your take on UALR overall?
Um, I like what they run. I like their style of play. They're number one in the country in what we call the Olajuwon stat. That's blocks and steals combined. Um, they average 10 steals a game. They cause 17 turnovers a game. Um, they're in helter skelter, right? They mix up defenses. They changes the rhythm of the game. They keep you off guard. They scatter the court a little bit, and they cause havoc, and that works good in their favor. They run really good stuff on offense. They run some Princeton stuff with this team. They got good pieces, good personnel. Like their team a lot. We respect them, but we don't fear them. But there's a lot of respect for what they do and who they are and how they're playing and winning basketball games.
Yeah, I may have a couple more. I'll turn it back to Mike if I can ask some questions later in the Zoom. Thanks.
Hutch?
Yeah, Coach, I'm curious if you have any updates on Jonas and Trevin, if they might be available for Friday's game.
I'm not sure about that. We haven't got an update for today. I think uh, that's up to our medical staff and Matt and those guys are doing a good job monitoring that. And they're trying. I know the kids are chomping at the bit to get back on the basketball court and working really hard and going to their PT meetings and around the clock treatment and therapy with Matt. But in terms of a status report, I don't have that right now at this moment.
And then if you're without them, I wonder if as a staff, have y'all kind of game planned like a doomsday scenario where if maybe somebody else gets shaken up in the game or foul trouble. I mean, you almost kind of had that against Pacific, just kind of how y'all will handle that with the shorter rotation.
Yeah, we talk about it. We prepared for all scenarios. As you saw last game, we had to play small because we had to play a do at the five some. Defensively, we had to play a do at the five, but offensively, pretty much a lot of our parts are interchangeable and positionless. So we're prepared for if we have to do something like that again on Friday. Being prepared is the most important thing. We're not going to be caught off guard if someone gets into foul trouble or if something like that happens. We'll be prepared for it.
Connor?
Hey coach, you mentioned Adu playing a little bit at the five, but just what has he meant to you guys this season and just the leap he's taken from his time at Kentucky to now and how he's been able to just, grow as a player.
Nothing he's doing is surprising to us. We are fully aware of his skill sets and how he can impact the basketball game. He's, in my opinion, could be one of the most impactful players in college basketball because of what he does on both sides of the ball, right? What he does defensively, him being hard to guard on the offensive side because you got to think a dude was a point guard. He obviously grew to be 6'7", 6'8", and he's this uh, physique, right, that he has. But he was a point guard, so he's got good ball skills, he's got good deck game, so he can drive the ball, and he's probably arguably one of the most athletic kids in basketball right now, in college basketball. So he's not doing anything for us that is shocking. What we're concerned about, which has been an issue for him, as I said before, is him being consistent. Can he keep up this pace? Can he continue to be healthy? And can he continue to play at this level? And if he can do that, then we'll have a really good team and he'll have a great year.
Another guy that I wanted to ask you about, Nelly Davis. It looks like, he's been giving you all some good minutes defensively. Cal mentioned, he had 6 rebounds the other night. It looks like he's just not been really comfortable offensively and getting super involved. What is your take on how he's done this season and what y'all need to do going forward to get him going?
Still figuring it out, right? We're still in that figuring it out stage in terms of our personnel pieces. We hadn't had them. We hadn't been able to practice with everybody. We hadn't been able to scrimmage still to this day, because every time it seems like we're getting healthy, someone else go out or whatever, and that's unfortunate. That's something that we can't control, but we've been able to play above that in terms of who's available and what we're doing. We're still getting good stuff done, still getting good work done. We have not taken a step back in terms of how we're preparing for practice, preparing for games, but in terms of Nelly, I think that it'll come, right? Nelly's situation will come. We're not really worried about him in terms of if you're talking on the offensive end, it'll come. Coach is gonna start doing some different things for him to get him into some spots that make him more comfortable, where he's able to do some of the stuff that he's effective at doing. We got to help him, and coach is committed to doing that.
Jackson.
Hey, Chin, just one more on Nelly. Do you get a sense like it's maybe an adjustment period coming from a place where, he was the clear-cut #1 option, and now he's, fitting in and trying to, with a team that's got a little bit more talent than where he was previously?
Is it an adjustment? Of course it's an adjustment. But it hadn't stopped how hard he works. It hadn't. I mean, he's probably at the top of our list in terms of guys who spends extra time in the gym and on his game and on his shooting and stuff like that. So the ball finds energy as long as he continue to put in the work, right? To, I would say, keep his mind right, because mind right, game right. Empty mind and his clear thoughts. As long as he continue to play with those things in perspective, then it's going to happen for him. It's going to turn, and then he'll be fine. We're not panicking. We're not worried about it at this point. We were 5 games in? 4 games in. So I mean, it's still super early. We're not panicking. We're not worried. We're still trying to get better. We're still trying to figure things out, and that's from an everyday basis. I'm more concerned with the first day of practice, the first possession of practice, how we handle that, than how we worry about Nelly and what he's going to do long term.
I know the last time we got to talk to you, a big topic was Zamir, and you said he's doing well, but we want to see more. So 7 turnovers the other night. What did you guys see on film that maybe you stuck out in something that Pacific did or Big Z did, and how can you clean that up?
He's got to be better, and we're not gonna stand for or accept mediocrity from him. He's got to be better, and he's got to be consistent. As you remember, I talked about him being consistent. You got to be an everyday guy, and his care factor has got to be at a high level, and he has to play like he cares, and how important possessions are to him. Because when we play, majority of our games are going to be decided by 2 to 3 possessions a game. You can't have 7 turnovers. So he has to value the basketball. He has to do a lot of things that we need him to do for us on a consistent basis, and we're still trying to get that out of him. And that's going to be ongoing. I don't think that he'll never reach the destiny or destination where we're like, okay, Z's at that point where we're going to always want more. I don't know about you. There's guys that the cup is half empty, or the cup is half full. I mean, I don't know what you are. I know what I am. I'm always looking to fill it. I'm always looking to fill it. So I'm one of those guys who's always looking to fill the cup. So that's who I am, and that's who I'm going to always continue to be on Z.
My cup's a quarter full. That's how I look at it. For last question from me, Little Rock, an in-state school, one that wants to come and, pull off an upset. I know you said you don't fear them earlier, but is there any added trepidation, not just, to tomorrow night, but in your coaching career when you're going up against maybe an in-state mid-major, this type of opponent?
Let me be clear. Highly respect them. All right. highly respect them. And I want the fear thing that's with anybody, right? You always respect your opponent. And we have a high degree of respect for them. We have a high degree of respect for Coach Walker, who's an alumni here, one of the great players here that played here. So there's a lot of respect there for them and what they do and who he is and how he's built his team and how his team is performing. But we don't fear him. We want to prepare for them as hard as we can, and we expect to win the basketball game because we prepare. And in between the lines, I understand that there's some extra ancillary stuff added to this game. It's an in-state game. Obviously, Coach Walker played here. He's beloved here. But at the end of the day, this is about our team playing their team, and it's about who is going to make less mistakes, who's going to be assignment sound, who's going to play the hardest, and who's going to execute their game plan the best on both ends of the basketball court. And then we'll see who wins the game. That's what this is about. This is a basketball game that we're going to play hard as to win so that we can prepare to get better for what's in front of us. And I'm sure they're trying to do the same thing.
Thanks, Chin.
Bob.
Yeah, Chin, I was looking at the stats. I think ULR hit 8 of 18 threes at Tulsa, and on the season they're shooting like 41%, pretty salty. Well, what's your take on their three-point offense?
We can't allow for them to attempt 25 threes. And our defense has to cut their attempts in half. You're right. They're shooting plus 40%. They got one kid shooting 47%. They got another kid shooting 44%. Their two main guys, I think, are really good three-point shooters. So we have to cut those in half. That means the attempts, the FTAs from three, they can't take 25 threes in our building. That's not going to happen. We're going to try to defend against that and make that be maybe 13 and cut the number of makes down to about 5. And if we do that, that'll play into our favor in terms of being victory.
And then Mwani Wilkinson, he's an SEC guy from LSU. He's leading their team in scoring. And yeah, and he's if I got it right, he's actually hit
Scoring
11.
and rebound. Scoring and rebound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on him? I think he's 11 of 22 on threes, so that's 50%.
Has some knowledge about him, obviously, from being in the league at LSU. He was there for 4 years, and I guess this is like his extra year. So went up against him a bunch at LSU. Always been a good player, always been a good shooter. He's got good size, good physical look to him. He's able to play inside out. He's able to, post up. He's able to get to the rim. And obviously he's a good threat from three. So we got to guard him on all three levels. He's a really good player who has some – he's not going to be fearful of us neither, right? He's played in this league. He understands the SEC. I think he'll be even a little bit extra jacked. But we got to do our job on him. We got to do our job on number 11. He is a really good player, Lawson. Got great size, ability to shoot the ball from three at a high clip and post up and get to the rim. He's got good size, so he's able to shoot over you, over the top of guys who doesn't match his size and his length. So it'll be a good game. I mean, these guys just come off a win over at Tulsa. I'm sure they'll travel here today, get comfortable, practice, and get prepared to play tomorrow.
Yeah, I had one more if that's okay. KK Robinson, who's a kid from Little Rock, played here. He was like the Ohio Valley preseason player of the year, and they tore up his knee, unfortunately. But it seems like Daryl and his staff have done a good job of, regrouping, readjusting, whatever you want to call it, without a guy that on paper was going to be their best player. What do you thought about how they've handled that situation?
I think they've handled it great, and so have we, right? Next man up. You have a guy injured that you depend on, and if he go down, it's sad for that young man because I'm sure he was looking forward to playing and being one of the best players in the OVC and probably leading this team to an NCAA tournament berth. So I'm sure that's still their goal. They've been able to rally around that and play multiple guys at the point. They got multiple handlers now. He's not him being there. I'm sure he was their primary ball handler, but they have multiple guys now that's kind of helping fill that void. So they're doing a good job of rallying around that and just moving on and next guy step up. And we're trying to do the same thing with our injuries and our guys trying to play catch up that are not playing and have been injured for most of our spring and our summer. So that's just always the mentality. Next man up. You can't. You can only control what you can control, and they're trying to control what they can control, and we're trying to do the same thing.
Thanks.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.